Okay, go ahead.
Okay, the Central New York Regional Planning and Development Board. Central New York Regional Transportation Authority.
Here, Rick Lee, Brian Schultz, and Chris Tuff.
Thank you. City of Syracuse.
Mary Robinson.
Thank you. New York State DOT.
Mark Frechette, and I see John Riker. I'm not sure if Dave Ross is on or not.
Dave's here.
Thank you.
Welcome, Dave.
Onondaga County DOT.
Odine's here.
Thank you. SACPA. Okay, then we'll stop.
That's it?
That's it.
That's it. All right, Rick, it's your agenda.
Okay, good afternoon. Now it's afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everybody's well and your families are well as we move through this thing we're moving through. And hopefully we'll be done with this thing before very long. But what we'll do is ask first if there's any additions or changes to the agenda.
None have come my way.
Okay. If nobody has any, fine, we'll move to a request. If I could have the minutes approved, please. Look for a motion.
This is Mark. I'll make a motion to accept them.
Thank you, Mark. I'll second.
Pat, you want to do a call?
Okay,
Okay.
we all set with that? Okay.
Pat will have to do it. Pat will do a roll call.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. All right. Still no representative from the planning board, the CNY planning board. Central New York Regional Transportation Authority,
Yes, approve.
City of Syracuse,
Yes, approve.
New York State DOT,
Approve.
Onondaga County DOT,
Approve.
and SACPA.
Approve.
Thank you.
Okay, communications and reports. Financial statements, Jim?
Sure. What you have before you is the end of year financial report, actually for the 2019-2020 year, in addition to the March monthly statements. On the bright side, we finished the year at about 5% in the black. That equates to about $63,000. That money will be available later this year, probably in June or July, to program into this year's budget if we need it. Or most normally what we do is we program it, we roll it into next year's budget when I develop the budget for next year. So at this time, when budgets are very tight, that's actually a little bit of good news that we're not overdrawn at all. We're in the black and we have a cushion. It's a very small cushion, but it's much better than not having one. In terms of monthly expenses for March, the only two significant expenses worth calling out are RSG, who helped wrapped up the travel demand modeling work for the year at $13,000. And then a web-based scenario tool for financial planning for our long-range transportation plan that's going to be available for the general public to use. That'll allow people to play with our future funding, if you will, interactively on a website that kind of says, you have this much money, and here's how our plan says it's going to be allocated for the next 25, 30 years, and give them the chance to reallocate those funds accordingly so we could see how other people think our priorities should be financially instead of what we think. It's just another way to get public input and help devise a good financial plan. So that's how our money has been spent for this past year and month. So I think we're in good shape financially, all things considered. Any questions on our finances, I'll answer them.
Any questions from anyone? Hearing none. Thank you, Jim. Do we need a motion to accept the financials?
No.
Okay. All right, next item on the agenda is UPWP status report, Jim. Please
Yes,
go ahead.
and I forgot to mention at the beginning, and my apologies, that was really a big error on my part. This meeting is being recorded. This meeting will also be posted in accordance with New York State's new meeting laws for these meeting of these kind of groups and through remote functions. It'll be posted on the SMTC's YouTube site, which we have recently begun doing. We did it with our policy committee meeting a week or so back. And this one is going to be, the only difference is that one was live streamed. This meeting is not being live streamed. It is just going to be posted immediately after we're done here today. Okay, in terms of the UPWP status report, I'll try and go quick here through some things. SMTC staff continues to work from home. I remain on site to ensure that staff can work from home and keep us as productive as possible. Projects are progressing. They're just not going in the exact same order we originally envisioned, given the change in work status. But staff remains actually highly productive and work is going quite well. Our long-range transportation plan project, we have a newsletter that went out to our study advisory committee today, kind of as a draft. And that will go out to our full mailing list of 4,000 plus people, both in hard copy and in digital formats, as part of our public outreach for our long-range transportation plan update. Obviously, staff has researched video conferencing platforms, as you can see here, and came up with a way to be able to put one in place that adheres to New York State's open meeting law practices. For federal transportation legislation updates, there's no real update on our reauthorization because Congress has been otherwise engaged with other essential activities. But from the Federal Transit Administration sent out a notice that public transportation agency safety plans that needed to be adopted by July 20th will have until December 31st to comply. Once Central completes theirs, SMTC has 180 days for our targets to coincide with theirs. Additionally, as you probably are all aware, the CARES Act relief bill signed into law at the end of March provided $25 billion for public transportation systems, of which I think Centro's share is about $21 million. In terms of projects, the RTC market area project is completed and ready to go before Planning and Policy Committee. The Getty's West Fayette Street project is complete. It's going out for a final SAC review right now and will be presented to the next Planning and Policy Committee as well. The new program year is well underway. Project assignments for staff has occurred and we are beginning project scoping. We're ongoing with some assistance to SACPA, the Empire State Trail Local Economic Development Opportunities Plan. That's a mouthful. For SACPA is underway. We have 8 draft maps completed and 3 regional maps and 18 nodes or areas of interest that have been done. Staff has also begun to create draft visualizations of some of these locations for SACPA. In terms of city assistance, staff is researching various methods of assisting the city of Syracuse with their very large sidewalk condition data collection effort that they want to do this summer. I have a conversation scheduled with Neil tomorrow on a couple of other issues. I'll be talking to him about this one as well. Because depending on what we do, it's going to need at least 1 intern on SMTC staff, maybe more, depending on what we need to do, in addition to some city resources where the city was originally going to be providing some interns. I don't know if that game has changed now in light of city's staff and budget cuts. So that's one of the things I need to verify with Neil tomorrow. For bike and ped planning, our bike map through MapWorks has a first draft that has been delivered today. So we expect to have that actually in our hands and printed during this year's bicycling season this summer, which is going to be great. For bridge and pavement condition management system, we're almost done with the 2019 report, and we're gearing up for the 2020 rating cycle where staff will rate the city and county roads. I have still been completely unable to obtain from New York State DOT the 2018 pavement ratings. I brought the issue up to Federal Highway because after a contentious conversation with Ron Epstein out of main office, no progress has been made and no information about why the delay is in place and when we'll ever be able to receive any data has been given, and it will impact our long-range transportation plan, our ability to prioritize projects on the tip and other activities. So I don't know if you have any update on that, Mark, but as of today, last I heard, I have no direction of being able to get that information from the state.
Yeah, I'm not privy to your conversation with Ron related to that, but I haven't seen anything related to pavement scores, and we're doing them in the region. I think 2 years ago. So it's done by a vehicle now. So all that information's in Albany. I have no other information on that.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, for the long-range transportation plan, as I mentioned, we have a newsletter that's being reviewed by the SAC, and we'll be going online soon, as well as that, the name of the software that's going to go online, Mario, I'm drawing a blank on it.
The platform we're using is called a balancing act.
It's a pretty slick piece of software that you can get in there and play with the numbers with and prioritize bicycle and ped or transit and just kind of divvy up the resources a little bit different. It's kind of nice. Additionally, staff ranked the 5310 2020 projects for transit money and provided that information to New York State DOT's main office. And on April 13th, we participated in a Zoom conference call with Representative John Katko on federal response to this current crisis that we're in. Under local comprehensive planning assistance, we've worked with the town of Skaneateles and SACPA to create a planning level cost estimate for their vision of their gateway as it's associated with New York State DOT's paving project. And we were able to give them cost estimates in terms of the cost differential of their vision versus what the state's paving project is. This is for the town portion, not the village portion. And it was quite a substantial dollar amount. And I don't know if anything's going to come of that, but we were able to provide that to the town and to SACPA. The US 11 route corridor study is out for SAC review, and it will also be ready for the next Planning and Policy Committee meeting. The safety assessment project that's been completed for Onondaga County, that is done and will go to the next Planning and Policy Committee meeting. That looked at approximately 800 miles of roads and identified 12 hotspot locations for the county. And that project is complete. We will be kicking off the one for the city of Syracuse probably later this month. We haven't made any progress yet on the joint TMC co-location effort. We've been kind of distracted with other items at the moment. That was one that we have not been able to prioritize yet. In terms of the DOME traffic management and event plan, got off to a little bit slower start than we wanted to, but we did have an initial scoping meeting with the city of Syracuse in March, along with New York State DOT. And we have another meeting scheduled with SU's staff next week, I believe, and to be able to get that project going. The idea is to get an RFP written in the very near future, get a consultant retained, and have one bill at least in place before the end of this program year. That was my instructions from main office DOT, who was funding the study. The goal is to at least have one bill in before the end of the program year to keep the funds active. So we're trying really hard to keep to that schedule given the constraints that we're operating in, and we hope we'll be able to do that. The Village of Skaneateles Pedestrian Safety and Access Plan, we met with the village trustees online in working on a scope of work for the Village of Skaneateles. We think we have an approach that will include a pedestrian safety oriented scope of work and also an add-on, if you will, of looking at one of the village roads from a possible conversion from two-way to one-way in the village. That'll be an add-on as a technical assistance kind of add-on item, not part of the actual study itself. As I mentioned, the Syracuse sidewalk planning effort, we're working on trying to get our hands on that. Our regional travel demand model has been updated and ready to use for our long-range transportation plan update and any other modeling projects that might come our way. In terms of the TIP, we had a significant TIP amendment that we adopted at the policy committee the end of last month for the I-81 project, and we have more TIP amendments on today's agenda, so we're trying to keep that item all active and alive. And lastly, under miscellaneous, we had to cancel a stormwater training program we're trying to assist the regional planning board with running due to the fact that it was an in-person class and doesn't really have the ability to be structured online at this time. And that's what I have for updates. If anyone has any questions, please let me know.
Questions for Jim? It's quite a list.
Sorry.
That's okay. All good stuff. No questions for Jim? All right. Let's move on to item number 4, old business. Any old business anybody wants to bring up? Hearing none, We'll move on to new business, tip amendments. Jim?
Yeah, we have three tip amendments here. First is a change in cost of just about $1 million for the City of Syracuse's Salina and State project. Our city is proposing to add funds for the current fiscal year 1920 to the prior obligated phases. So 330,000 NHPP, 656,000 flex for construction, and then 40,000 flex for inspection. Offsets are being provided by funds from outside the area, courtesy of New York State DOT. The other two projects are changes in schedules for New York State DOT. Erie Boulevard Pedestrian Safety Action Plan project being proposed delaying the design phase out till next year. And the Freeway Incident Management System, again for New York State DOT, proposing to delay that phase from 2021 to 21-22. No offsets are necessary for either of those projects as those funds will remain in use. So I'll let you guys talk amongst yourselves as to those three projects, including why that one project is $1 million short.
You want me to go first, Jim? Smart. For our two projects, first the Erie Boulevard project, we have both the county and city have gotten the pedestrian safety action plan funding. We're doing the county's section, and the city's got a pretty large PSAP project. We have a paving job on Erie Boulevard, and was given about $500,000 to do pedestrian safety accommodations in that area. And so we're going to add those two projects together. We got that notification, I think it was last fall or something. And so we're just slipping the design approval date out consistent with the Erie Boulevard project so that they can go together. We're going to have one contractor, even though we've got the people doing the designs are two different groups. But the construction will be one continuous contract. So that was really just to align it from a design perspective to be together. So that's the one project. The other project is the Freeway Management Information System is, if you remember, probably about a year ago, there was some national highway freight funding that the feds were giving, and this project was selected as a project consistent with the growth of the intelligent transportation systems in the Syracuse, Central New York area. And so this project is really phase 5 and 6, and go back probably years ago, SMTC facilitated a development of ITS. And Jim, it probably goes back even further than 10 years ago. But anyhow, we still are implementing that plan. And so these are for the variable message boards along the interstate, tying things in. These are for the cameras. It really helps to manage our system. The problem with that project is we don't have the talent within the department to do the designs for those type of projects. They're pretty specialized electrical engineering type activities that we have to hire those services. The delay in rollout of that program, and there are only two projects selected in the whole region. One was Thompson Road over 690, which is going to construction this summer, and then this one, the Freeway Management Information System. So just due to the delay in that funding rolling out, we have been unable to hire the consultant and get design approval. So this, once again, just pushes the project past October 1st. We'll get design approval next year. Not going to lose any of the funding.
Good.
Be happy to answer any questions on either of those.
Okay. Mary, you want to address your project?
Sure. We put the downtown Salina and State Street project out to bid, and received 3 bids, I believe. Unfortunately, they came in approximately $1.2 million over budget. And thanks to New York State DOT, they were able to come up with some additional funding to fund this very important project. So thank you, Mark and team.
Yeah, that's awesome to be able to come up with that extra cash for a project of that importance, especially in light of how important that particular route's going to be to anything to do with 81. So that's good.
Yeah, they want to get this taken care of before 81 gets started, construction.
Great.
Okay, any more questions from anybody of Mark or of Jim? Okay, can we do a motion for all 3?
Yes.
I have a motion to approve all 3 tip amendments, please.
Rick, I'll make a motion. This is Mark.
Thank you, Mark. A second?
I'll second it.
Mary, a second. Thank you, Mary. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, roll call.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Over the phone, we have a roll call. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Central New
I'll
York,
get that, and I'll get that next time around.
Central New York Regional Transportation Authority,
Yes, approve.
City of Syracuse,
Approve.
New York State DOT,
Approve.
Onondaga County DOT,
Approve.
and SACPA.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is election of officers, as terms are expiring or have expired April 1st.
Yep. This would be our normal time for an election of officers, and as it happens, our current chair is moving on to other items in July and has begun transitioning his responsibilities to Brian Schultz. I'm not positive, Rick, if you know who the representative to this committee is going to be after that point or not, if that's been determined yet or not.
It hasn't. So what's happening is I've decided to retire effective August 1st. The 2 gentlemen in the room with me are the individuals who will, over a period of time, take over. Brian Schultz will become CEO in August at that time, and then Christopher Tuff will become deputy CEO at that time. And then, succession will move on, and the organization will change leadership. So we have not had the opportunity to talk internally about who would be the representative on this committee, because Brian chairs policy? Yeah. Policy. Okay, put Brian on as a member of this committee, and then you guys can elect a chair now, and then move forward from there.
All right, that sounds good. I had a previous conversation with Mary Robeson, who was gracious enough to agree to chair this meeting. It might have had something to do with the fact that she, at the same conversation, asked for $1 million. I don't know, but as happenstance happened to be. He couldn't say no that day. David Botar, even though he's not on the call today, he has agreed to stay on as vice chair of this committee.
So I would like a motion to, should I not make a motion to nominate Mary and Dave respectively for chair and vice chair of the committee?
That's correct. That'd be good.
I would like to ask for that motion.
Rick, I'll make the motion. This is Mark.
Thank you, Mark. I will second it. All in
Pat.
favor? Aye. Oh, sorry, Pat.
Okay, it's okay.
No, Pat, I've decided we're not doing it your way anymore. We're going to do.
Good thing he's stepping down, huh, Tim?
Holy cow. Go ahead. Sorry, Pat.
It's okay. Central New York Regional Transportation Authority,
Approve. Yes.
City of Syracuse,
Approve.
New York State DOT.
I approve, Pat.
Thank you. Onondaga County DOT.
I approve as well.
Thank you. And SACPA.
Approved.
Thank you.
Okay. Congratulations, Mary. Your ascension to the high office is appreciated by not only the committee, but the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rick. And thank you for
You're
your
welcome.
service as well, serving as chair.
Oh.
Wish you the best
Thank
in
you.
your retirement. I'm jealous.
Thank you. Well, I'm not going to evaporate. I'm just going to shift gears. Okay.
Good.
With that being said, election of officers is complete. Is there any other items under new business we want to discuss? Hearing none, are there any public comment?
Doubtful, since there's no public on the line.
No way to count, right. All right. Then I think we're through, and I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Thank you very much.
Call it a meeting.
I think we, all in favor of adjourning, say aye.
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 We are adjourned.
All right,
Thank you very much, everyone.
Talk to you all soon. Thank you.
Take care.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.